Assalamu alaikum. Good day to you, my long lost friend.
You too.
How have you been?
Good.
It's good to see you. Look like you grew another 2 or 3 inches since we've been away.
No, it got
That a,
shorter.
that a mustache, I'm saying?
I don't think so.
Okay, it could be now. You've been away that long. Perfect. All right. Anyway, you ready to get started again?
Yeah.
All right. A lot of folks have been missing you, and I'm at the top of that list. I missed you. So let's jump right into what we need to do. While we have a full hour to do so, let me pull up my notes. There we go. We're going to be moving on to a couple of new letters and a couple of new connections. All right. So let us first begin properly with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And in doing so, we invite Allah's mercy into our conversation. And we ask that Allah be pleased with the outcome of our conversation today. Very happy to be back in your presence. I thank Allah for protecting you, for protecting your family, for protecting me and my family, so that we have this ongoing opportunity to be in each other's presence. Remember, I'm learning from you just like you're learning from me. So you're already an instructor. You're a junior instructor, but you're an instructor. All right? Not just a learner. You're also an instructor. Now let me pull up my notes. All right, so I'm going to ask you to begin reading. And I'll ask you to stop at points where I need to make a point. Okay? What letter is this we're discussing?
Ra. Now,
Very
Ra
well.
is
You said that very well. Say that again.
Ra.
Love it. All right.
Ra is the front of the head. Face, any of the faces, round orifices.
All right, stop there. Have you ever heard of the word orifice?
No.
Okay. Do you think you might be able to guess what an orifice is?
To give a hint?
Give you a hint?
Yeah.
The hint is that they're round and they're found on your face.
Like cheeks?
Okay.
Or like when you make a face, like when you smile or something like that.
Okay. That's close, but let me tell you the exact meaning. An orifice is anything circular on your face that can open up and take things into it and have things come out of it. Now let me hear what you have to say about your face. Remember, anything that's kind of round, shaped round, and it can have things go into it, and it can also have certain things come out. But more stuff goes into an orifice than comes out of an orifice. So what would you say now as an answer?
Um, your nose?
That's one. Good.
Your mouth?
That's two. You're on a
Your
roll.
ear?
Say it again.
Maybe your ears?
For sure.
Uh, your eyes?
Yeah.
When nothing comes out of your eyes.
Vision. When you look out, you're taking in objects, but the vision is going out. So it's an orifice. There's one other one that's hard to guess at. Let me see if you can get it without me going down the page to show you.
Is it like the thing on your face, like when those pores, like
Matthew, we're not even 10 minutes in, man, and you're knocking them out the ballpark, man. Your pores, that's right. Yeah, because they're round. Things can go into your pores. And have you ever seen somebody push on a pimple or something and pus
yeah,
comes out of the pores, right? Okay,
it's
so
oil,
huh? Oil?
some type of oil.
Yeah, it's oil. Yeah. Or it's really it pus. It sounds nasty, but that's what it is. right? But that's absolutely correct. I don't know if I could have asked an adult that question and gotten that correct answer the first time around. So bravo. Great answers. Okay. So continue to read now that you know what an orifice is.
It represents the movement of consciousness. The
All right.
front,
Now we're getting into some deep science here. Hold on. Hold on. Have you heard the word consciousness before?
yeah,
Have you heard the word conscious before?
yeah,
Can you tell me what that is without me telling you?
conscious.
Mhm.
Talked about it before, but it's like when you're conscious, you. It's like how I'm speaking now. If I'm like unconscious, I can't do anything. I'm like how do I say it? Like when I'm sleep when I'm conscious of what I'm doing, I know what I'm doing. But when I'm
Yes,
unconscious of what I'm doing, I don't know what I'm doing.
that's right.
It's like when you're sleeping, you could like sleepwalk, but you had no idea you did that.
That's right. So you're not conscious, right?
Hmm?
This is good, man. This is what we used to call groovy. You're giving me some groovy answers right now, Mahdi. All right. So Ra represents the movement of consciousness. That's what we're going to talk about for the first part of this class. Not only consciousness, but the movement of consciousness. Now, let me say one more thing about this word conscious. Now, if you look at the word, we're going to split the word up now so that we can see the real meaning, okay? This is part of the Nunetics method for identifying meanings
Forgot
for
what con,
words.
but it means something.
Say it again.
Con is prefix. I forgot what con
That's
means.
right. That's right. And what is ness in this case? If
Suffix.
con, there you go. So con is a prefix, ness is a suffix. That means that they are not a part of the original word. So what part of this word are we actually dealing with?
Schiss.
That's right. Now, is that a word in the dictionary?
No, it's a locked word.
It's a what?
It's a locked root or a root word that
You,
is not
that's
used.
right. That's correct. You're absolutely correct. Now, what word in the English language would we say sounds close to shus or
Delicious.
chus? Huh?
Delicious.
Okay. Well, no, you're giving me shus. I want you to give me a different word that has those same sounds. Chus. Just change the vowel or vowels.
Chess. Conscious. I mean,
Well, we're saying we're using conscious. Just take the con out, take the ness out, and just deal with the chus. If you offered me two alternatives and I said, give me that one, what did I just make?
huh?
A
Oh wait, say it again. I didn't hear you.
okay. If you offered me two alternatives, say, Instructor Bilal, I have some vanilla ice cream and I have some strawberry ice cream. Which do you want? And I said, give me the strawberry. What did I just do? I made a,
Choice.
there you go. You got it now?
Well, I'm thinking of names like Manchester.
Okay. Manchester. I got it. Every time you see choice, choose, cheese, it doesn't matter. If it matches those consonantal connections, the it's going to have a
I didn't
related
hear what
meaning.
I didn't hear what you said. Your camera and your mic just went off, and then I
Yeah,
could.
that's been a problem. So I'm going to try to slow that down and repeat it. Wherever you have words that have this sound in it, and we're talking only about the consonant. So it's really just the SC sound, which they say is it's like the CH sound. They say conscious. They don't say conscious, right? They say conscious. So even though it's spelled with an SC, it's really CH sound. Can you hear that? Conscious.
Ness.
Okay. Same thing with Manchester, although they do spell that CH. But if you have chis and you just gave me the word choice, along with the choice, we can say choose, right? Same consonants. Choose. We can say cheese. It's going to have a related meaning because cheese comes in slices. And then I choose how many slices I want to put on my sandwich. You get it? I'm giving you the easy way of understanding it, right? Cheese just means it's divided up so that you have to do the picking. You have to make the choice. All right. We're not going to stay on that long. That was just to let you know that conscious has something to do with the front of the head or any of the face's orifices that you just mentioned, the round portions of the face, the eyes. Give me the other four again.
The the pores, the ears, the mouth, the nose.
Very good. 5 orifices in the face. And the face is basically an oval shape, which we can also consider to be round, the roundness of the face. All right. So that's ra. And if you look at the Arabic letter ra, start here at the top and begin tracing it down and around. If you were to continue drawing this, what would you end up with?
A circle.
Exactly. An orifice. You'd end up with a circle or an oval at least, which is in the circle family. Okay. So let's continue. Read that.
And the front of the face has all five senses. Five
That's right.
senses. First,
I'm sorry.
first.
Don't read further yet. Not yet. Not yet. Let's just establish this for our listeners that the front of the face, not the back of the head, the front of the face has all 5 senses. You mentioned those senses already, but we're going to mention them from the right side of the screen now. Okay, so tell me what you see there.
Touch, sight, hearing, smell, and taste.
Okay. Okay, very good. All right. And the pores, of course, are all over the body, connected to the skin. But in this case, we're using touch as the 5th sense. Seeing, the eyes, hearing, the ears, smell, the nose, taste, the tongue, the mouth, the tongue, and then touching. And as you know, it's not just the hand that touches. You can touch with any part of your body, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can touch my hand with my nose if I want. I can touch you and give you an elbow bump. That's still touching. If I'm in karate class and I kick the person that I'm sparring with, that's still a touch, even though I didn't do it with my hands. So any part of the body can touch. Touch is the one out of those 5 senses that is the, I
But
would
what
say
if
the
your hair
most,
touches somebody, but you don't? What if your hair touches somebody?
your hair.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you're still touching. You'll feel it. If somebody comes, let's say I had a big old afro and somebody came and just patted the top of my afro, I feel that. And of course, if somebody came and pulled your hair, you remember that lesson? Ty?
Mm-hmm.
If somebody came and yanked at your hair, you're going to feel that also. But if somebody just smushed you like that and they didn't really pull at it or anything, you feel that. Okay. All right. All right. Now let's continue to read. Hold on. Go for it.
Our five senses make choices for us as to what is good, bad, wrong, right, tasteful, distasteful, pleasant, unpleasant.
Okay. I want you to explain that to me.
Okay.
Let me ask you this first.
I,
If your 5 senses are making choices, then are your 5 senses conscious?
yeah.
That's
No,
right.
wait, no.
Well,
Yes.
you gave me the right answer the first time. All right. Now, explain to me why your 5 senses are conscious.
Because if they're not conscious, I wouldn't. If my ears aren't conscious, I wouldn't hear anything. If
That's right.
my nose is conscious, I wouldn't smell anything. If my touch
Okay.
wasn't conscious, I wouldn't touch anything. I wouldn't feel anything. If my eyes were conscious, I wouldn't see anything. If my
Exactly.
tongue was conscious, I wouldn't taste anything.
Very good. Very good. So once you die, are you conscious to this life?
No.
No, because you can't see, you can't taste, you can't hear, you can't, smell, you can't, whatever else there is, right? All right. So our five senses are making these choices as to what is good and bad. Now, how do your senses relate to you what is good and bad? How do your eyes tell you what's good and bad?
Your eyes, like
Mhm.
when your eyes sees danger, like somebody got punch or a dodgeball coming inwards, you try to dodge it or protect yourself from it.
Perfect answer. Give me the other senses. How do
When
they
you smell,
determine good and bad?
when you smell something bad, you
Can
don't
you
eat
adjust your
it.
camera? Can you adjust your camera so I can see your whole head? Because I can't see your whole head. Yeah. Or sit up. Yeah. Okay. Go for it.
When you smell something bad, you usually don't eat it. When you taste something bad, you usually don't eat it. When you touch something that's hot and you don't like it,
Yeah.
uh, like you don't touch it anymore.
Yeah. Perfect. Did we do the ears?
Oh yeah, you hear something like a gunshot, you immediately react to it. You duck down and you don't. And like if you're in a bank and somebody like pulls out a gun and shoots and you hear it and you didn't see it, but you still duck anyway.
That's a problem. Yeah. All right. Or if you hear something that's too loud, like if you're going to somewhere and they're playing this loud, oh man, I gotta get out of here. Right. It's offensive
Mhm.
to the hearing for most people. All right. So how do your five senses make choices as to what is right and wrong?
Something's wrong when you when all your five senses work together. Well, your taste won't be useful in some of these situations. When you when let's say you're in a jungle and you have to rely on your sense of everything, uh, you have to you have to be cautious because in the wilderness you're not like in a grocery store and you get like to try samples and stuff. And like not a grocery store, you can't just walk in and like find like rabbit stew or something like that. You gotta be cautious because like you know uh I feel like in Yellowstone Park, I mean, it's not very good to just walk in the middle of the forest and expect to see like I don't know rabbit foot stew sitting there because like it isn't grocery market. You don't pay for rabbit foot stew or something like that in
Okay.
the middle of the forest.
Right.
And if you walk somewhere like in the middle of like the wilderness or jungle, um, your sight gives you an idea of what's going on, where you should go. Your touch, you know, um, like if you couldn't feel anything and like you tried to grab something and then like you didn't feel you grabbing it, so you try to grab it again but it's already in your hands and you let go,
Hmm.
it's gonna fall down, it's gonna break, and then you didn't know that it was in your hand. So you need sense of touch. um when you're when you hear something, like shuffling in the bushes, I mean, you don't usually like run towards it. It's like, hey, maybe there's rabbit foot stew in there.
Hmm.
You usually stay away or try to protect yourselves or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what people
So
usually
so
do.
so which one of these um twos, I call them twos, good, bad, right, wrong. Which ones of those do you think will give you the most advantage? Like if you knew what was good and bad about a thing, how do you find out what's good and bad about something?
you have to like, I don't know, you have to learn and you have to know what it is.
Okay. So you might have to experience it, right? And say, wow, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to do that again. That's bad for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or hey, I want to do that again because that seems to be good for me, right? But you have to experience it kind of, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what about right and wrong? Have you already experienced it to know that it's right and wrong?
Some things, yeah.
Yeah, in some cases, that's right. Sometimes you know because your parents told you don't eat pork, or, whatever, yeah. Or your parents said
Don't
don't hang out with the bullies or whatever, and you don't really need to have experienced hanging out with a bully. But most of the time, to know what's right and wrong, you would have already experienced it to know that it was either right or wrong by knowing whether it's good or bad once you experience it. I hope I didn't confuse you just now.
no.
Explain back to me what I just said.
Like like so your senses should tell you you have to experience what is right and wrong to know what is right and wrong or good or bad. Because like sometimes if your mom even says that, you shouldn't play with fire, but you still do it anyway because you haven't experienced what fire feels like when you start
Hmm.
actually like putting your hand inside of it.
Yeah.
Then that's the point where you get burned and you don't want to play with fire anymore.
Mhm. Mhm. So let me tell you what you just described. You described the difference between what is this word?
Information,
Yeah. And what's
knowledge,
that word?
knowledge. Oh, there's a difference. I know it. Knowledge is
Yeah.
what you already know. Information is
How do you know this knowledge? What caused you
how
to
do you know
know this knowledge?
you experienced it.
That's right.
Information is just stuff you just perceive.
Yes. Great answer.
Info.
Info or inform, right?
Hmm.
All right. So my mother could give me information about the bully. All right. So I have information about the bully, but until I experience what a bully does or experience with my own eyes and ears how a bully acts and talks and walks and all of that, once I experience it or once I have been bullied, now I can say that I have more than just information. I actually have knowledge of how a bully operates, right?
Intel.
Intel, yeah. I like that. All right. So there's a difference. Information has to, and I'll give it to you in this equation. Information plus experience equals knowledge. How's that for a mathematical equation? Information has to marry experience in order to produce the baby that we're calling knowledge.
Oh, it's like if you in the middle of the forest, like you decide that playing in the forest is fun, and like your mom said you could fall on barbed wire, like I don't know, a boar could run at you or something. Uh, that could happen. I don't know.
Okay.
Uh, uh, Something like that. Well, you're not really scared of it, or no, you don't. You don't know what if it's wrong or not. Sometimes
Mhm.
you think your imagination divides. You're like they're friendly, right? I mean, they wouldn't hurt a poor child or
Hmm.
something like that.
Hmm. Uh-huh. That's right.
So then you walk in the forest and you see a boar, start running towards, and you're like, "Hey, you want to play together?" And when the boar gets the idea, you're attacking it. And when a boar gets the
Right.
idea, you're attacking it, and you're smaller than it. Uh, Even though you're not smaller than it, boars just attack anyway.
Mm.
They attack back. They have horns, and they are not very.
Yeah. You're saying BOAR, right? Boar.
Yeah.
Okay. I just
And
don't
then
want
they
our science fiction fans to think you're saying Borg, like cyborg. You're saying boar, the animal. Yeah.
and they start running at you, and the next thing you know, you might be dead. Well, some of these boars are relentless, even though you fight back. Even guns sometimes can't scare them off.
Wow.
Some of these boars are not very like sometimes
Responsive.
their skulls are very strong
Mm, I
that
got
a
you.
shotgun shell wouldn't break.
Wow. That's good to know.
And they keep running at you. They don't care. They just run at you. Break a bone. Sometimes they might run, but I don't know. They don't usually do that. And then you try to call back to mom or something. Your mom, runs into the forest with like a gun or something,
Yeah.
and then you're like, I told you shouldn't play with the boars. I
Now you have experience, right? Which means that you have gained knowledge of what
and
not to do.
the information that your mom gave you. You want to test it. Like
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Yeah. Yeah.
you didn't want it to be that. Yeah, you didn't think it was that violent.
Okay. So let
So
me ask you a question. So that means that information, once tested by experience, is what gives you knowledge. Now, isn't that what science is? That science has to be tested and proven.
yeah.
And sometimes more than once, you have to do that experiment over and if you get the same results, doing it over and over and over again, then they call it science, right?
Mhm.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. So then in this case, we can say that knowledge is also
Good.
science. And in Arabic, in the Quran, when Allah uses the word for knowledge, which is ilm, can you say that? Ilm.
Ill.
Yeah, that's the word for knowledge, but it means more science than the way we think about. We think knowledge is that we anything we know, and that's not true. Because most of what we know is just information. We haven't experienced anything, but we say we know it, but we really don't know it because we have not experienced it. But in the Quran, the word for knowing something is related to science because you don't know a thing until you have experienced it. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It's like sort of like not guilty till proven, but like I don't know how to say it.
Say that one more
It's
time.
like it's sort of like not guilty till proven, but it's like not true till proven.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. A legal comparison. That's nice. But I'm going to show you
Yeah.
one other clue in this equation here. Information. Now, anytime you see any word in English that begins with IN, I want you to see it as what we call a feminine word or a feminine principle word. Doesn't mean that it's a female. It means that it's following the feminine principle, and feminine principles always take things inside of themselves. You understand?
Hmm.
Okay. So information. Can you give me another in word?
Inform.
Well, that's from information. I should say
Um.
information is from the word inform.
Intelligence.
There you go. So that means
Intellect.
that intelligence is a feminine principled word. Why is that?
Huh? Why is intelligence a female feminine word?
Yes.
Well,
Where does intelligence
intel.
come from? Where does it, yeah, intel, go ahead, break it down.
Intelligence is information you're gaining. Intellect is what you already know. So intelligence it takes in information.
From
And
where?
intellect,
From where?
what
Where's that information coming from?
wherever the information comes from, a source.
Okay, so let's go back to an earlier lesson. You ready for this?
Uh-huh.
Say yes. Okay.
I think I know. I think I remember.
Well, I'm going to write it out and I think you'll get it as soon as you see it again. So that's it. Well, let's go with intelligent. Well, no, let's stay with intelligence. Where does it come from? Break that word down.
Where does it come from?
Yeah. Did I discuss this with you? What the word intelligence means?
Maybe.
I'm gonna show you where to break it down, and then you tell me. Intelligence. Go for it.
I get it now.
You remember.
Um, it was something. It's some. Okay. So in, it's like taking in something. Telly is something like telephone, and like when you have a
Hold on.
telephone,
Hold on. Slow down so I can catch up with you. All right, wait a minute. Taking in something. So let's call that internal. Making something internal. Okay. Hold on. Let me get this right as you're saying it. Okay. So internal, and then telly is what now?
is like a telephone.
Okay. And what does a telephone do? What does a
It
telegram do? What does a
receives
telegraph do?
information. It's like
What is it doing with the
takes
information?
it's taking it in.
What do you call that? Is it taking it in when it's telling? If you're telling me something, are you taking something in?
No, it's pushing information out.
Very good. So what this is doing is, what am I writing? Give me the
Communication.
rest of it. That's right. Communicating. Internal communication. Okay.
And then it was something like genes or something.
There you go, my man. Coming from the
Internal
genes.
communication genes.
Internal communication coming from the genes.
ICG.
There you go. Oh, you might want to patent that. Right. So intelligence comes into the genes, but there is someone who is placing that intelligence in the genes. Who is that someone?
God.
That's right. The source creator. Can you say that? Source creator.
First creator.
Yeah, you can say God, you can say Allah, you can say, different people have different words for the source creator, right? But that source creator is the one that's placing that information in the genes. And you know how we know that? Because when the baby is born, do you have to teach the baby how to get milk from the mother? Think about your baby lamb or your baby calf or whatever. Does someone have to come out and set up the blackboard and say, okay, now that you're here, I'm going to show you how to get milk from your mother's teats? Do you have to teach
No.
that animal that? No,
No, the animal just sort of naturally just goes to it. It's like
that's right, because it's in the animal's genes.
we
The
remember.
information is already in the genes. That's right. It's already clocked in by Allah to to instruct the baby. Say instruct, instruction, internal structure, right? To instruct that child
Internal
as to what to do.
structure of information.
Say that first part again.
Never mind. It's like
No, 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 no. Go ahead.
internal structure of information. That's what it's
Yeah, instruction. That's right. Beautiful.
of in
You're gonna have your own dictionary soon. All right. So the point is that no human being gives intelligence to a baby. All of the things that the baby comes here already knowing has been deposited into the genes by the source creator. Does the mother have to teach the baby's hair how to grow?
no. I mean, like that's pretty natural. I mean, like
Of
the hair
course.
does not need intelligence.
That's right, because the DNA is doing the job. The DNA has already captured that information and is expressing that information.
The thing is
Okay,
that intelligence is controlled by the gene.
that's correct. That it's in the name. Internal communication coming from the genes. It's already controlled. That's right. So things like how tall you're going to be. Does your father decide, since he wants you to
No,
play basketball when you're born, he said, he's going to be a basketball player, and I'm going to make sure that he's 6'7". Does the father decide that?
no,
Of
not
course not.
really.
Your genes decide that.
I mean, like if you eat more, sometimes it works or
No,
something.
no, it won't happen. Sorry. You can't eat more and say, I want to be 3 feet taller. It doesn't work like that. It's already a predisposition, as they call it, in your genes. Your genes decide that. That means that Allah is directly assigning that to you. You can decide how heavy you want to be. You want to gain weight, you can decide that. You want to lose weight, that's different. But to decide how tall you're going to be, or other things like your facial features, you can change those when you get older. Like Michael Jackson, he got his nose chopped off, kind of, sort of, right? But if he had left it alone, it would have been whatever the combination of his mother's and father's genes made that nose to be. Got it?
Mhm.
Let's move on. We got a lot of ground to cover here. So we said information plus experience equals knowledge. Information is the feminine. That makes experience what?
Experience, the male.
Right. The masculine. Say masculine.
Masculine.
Okay. So anytime you see EX on a word, on the beginning of a word, it's a masculine word. Got it?
Mhm.
Okay. So if information is a feminine word and the experience is a masculine word because it goes out, it doesn't take in, it goes out. Like exit. You see that word? EXIT? Goes out. Entrance. See, entrance, the EN is actually IN in the word entrance. So it's coming in. Exit goes out. So information is coming in. Experience is what allows the information to go out. Say, let me see how I can use this information. You learn something in school, you say, let me go and put that into practice. They taught me how to plant seeds by the book, but I haven't done it yet. So let me go out and get the experience. And once I take that information that the teacher gave me in the class, and I go out and start planting seeds and patting the dirt and watering the field and all of that, now I'm getting experience. And it's the experience that will allow me to say that I now have knowledge of how to plant and grow. And look at the word knowledge. How many letters are in that?
9.
Yeah. And basically, how many months does it take for a baby to get here from a human?
9.
Basically, yeah. Sometimes it can be in the 10th month, but more than likely, they say 9 months of pregnancy. Got it?
Mhm.
All righty then. Let's take this off and move on. So that was the letter. What letter was that we were talking about?
Um, Ra.
Yeah. And what letter are we looking at now?
Oh,
That's right. Off.
are
So
we?
continue. Huh?
Oh, I already know this.
I know. But we're going to look at it from a different perspective now. Oops. Okay, hold on. And let me give you a word of advice when you're learning something, okay? And this is advice coming from Prophet Muhammad. It is reported that Prophet Muhammad told someone that whenever they hear something that they have already heard, he said, never say, I already heard that. And I'm going to tell you why he said that. He said, for chance, there might be something in what you're hearing again that you can learn because you missed that part the first time you heard it. Repeat that back to me,
Did you
unless you
just
need
say?
me to repeat it. Hmm?
Yeah,
You
I
want
was
me
a
to
little
repeat
confused.
it?
Yeah.
Okay. Muhammad the Prophet said that if you hear something that you heard already,
Mhm.
never say to yourself, well, I heard that already, so I'm not going to listen to that. He's just repeating himself. He said, never say that because even though he's repeating himself or she's repeating herself, there might be something in it that you missed the first time, some valuable information that you didn't catch the first time, not because you weren't listening, but sometimes we listen for certain things and we miss other things, right? Just like you could be listening to a song, your favorite song, and maybe the first time you're listening to that song, you're listening to the lead singer, right? But the second time you listen to the song, you're interested in the bass player. You didn't catch that the first time you listened to it. Or the third time you listen to the song, now you're into what the drummer is doing, right? So it's the same song being repeated over and over again, but you're listening to things that you missed the first and second and third and fourth and fifth time that you heard it. So I'm saying that to you, and I say that to all learners. Even if you heard it before or think you heard it before, listen to it anyway, because there's something in it, more than likely, that you missed the first time. You got that lesson?
Mhm.
Repeat it back to me.
Sometimes, when you're listening to something and what's you're listening to something and you listen to it again and then you learn something new even though you already listened to it again because you sometimes you're concentrating on something else other than the sometimes you're concentrating on one specific thing other than the other things and like you get distracted and like you don't hear the other stuff.
Perfect. Perfect explanation. So that's the reason for listening to it again. All right. Very good, Mahdi. I appreciate you for that. All right. So this is the letter off. Say it again loudly.
Golf.
Very good. All right. And you can see that there are two dots on top of off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They're called nuqda, but we don't have to worry about that right now. Now, these two dots were not always over the letter Qaf. That only happened when al-Islam, the religion, began to be spread far and wide outside of Arabia. And people who did not speak Arabic, they needed hints and clues in the letter system so that they would know that Qaf is not Fa, because it looks almost exactly the same. Okay. So they gave Fa one dot and they gave Qaf two dots to make sure that the non-Arabic reader would be able to identify them. So what I'm about to tell you is not what the Arabic language says these two dots mean. What I'm about to tell you is what Mahdi and instructor Bilal says these two dots mean. So you're inventing this system with me. You got it? He said, what is this man talking about?
Yeah.
Inventing a system of language. I'm going to show you. So cough. Now, you said that you heard this before. What does cough mean?
What? No, I've only heard about that. No, the occipital lobe and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Good. I'm glad you have. Yeah, that's a jump start. All right. So you see these two parts of the back of the head. So let's talk about that. Tell me what cough means first. Go ahead and read, because I know you know these words already.
Goth is the back of the head, occipital lobe, visual cortex, and the parietal lobe. Coordination of movement.
Okay. Parietal. Say it.
And parietal lobe.
Lobe. That's right. So give me those two lobes again.
Occipital and parietal. Parietal.
Okay. And what does the occipital lobe control?
Visual cortex.
And what does the parietal lobe control?
Coordination of movement.
Oh, you're on your way now. All right. So that's cough. And I am inventing a meaning for those two dots on top of the letter cough. Since cough means the back of the head, then I'm identifying the two major areas in the back of the head that control this part of the brain and this part of the mind. So let's see what they are. Let's see what the occipital lobe is, and let's see what the parietal lobe are. Is this too much for you? If so, I'll go to something else. I'll go to Disney Channel or something. Is this too much for you?
No.
Oh, okay. Read that.
It transfers information to the conscious mind.
Say it one more time slowly.
It transfers information into the conscious mind.
That's right. Now, if you don't know anything else about what this part of the brain does, it transfers information from the back of the brain and from this lower part of the back of the brain into the conscious mind, which is up here, right? The conscious mind is in the front, the frontal lobes. So information is going to be coming from here And from here into this part of the brain. Can you repeat that back to me?
So the what's this? The ox. Which one's this? Is I think the occipital lobe is the top part, right?
Yes, it is. That's correct.
So the occipital lobe, the visual cortex, is transferring knowledge to the um to the
Parietal.
parietal lobe, which
Mhm.
is the coordination of the movement. Because the visual cortex, when you look at something, you know, there's a cup in front of you and it has juice in it. I mean, like some people don't like juice, but like you know, if you're me, I like juice. Um, and you see juice, you use the parietal lobe and the coordination of the muscles to like move your hand towards a cup of juice and drink it.
That's correct. It controls the movement. That's absolutely right. Let's learn a little bit more about what it does. Here we go. It transfers information, as we said, into the conscious mind from the subconscious mind. Now, look at the parts of the brain. And here are those two areas, the occipital lobe that we saw and the parietal lobe that we saw. Now, that's what makes up the majority of your brain in the back of the brain. Okay. And it is the subconscious activity that is also taking place in this region of the brain and in what is called the limbic system, the limbic brain. That's the midbrain. You have three brains. You have this brain where the cerebellum is. Can you say cerebellum?
Cerebellum,
Yeah. And then you have this region of the brain, which is where the limbic system is. Can you say limbic?
limbic,
Okay. And then you have this part of the brain colored in red that represents the neocortex brain. Can you say that?
neocortex,
Okay. So this bottom brain where the cerebellum is, that's called your reptilian brain. Have you heard of that before?
reptilian brain.
Yeah.
Uh, no.
Okay. So remember that reptilian brain. Then you have, it's also called the R complex, but don't worry about that. That's too complex, right? The reason it's called reptilian brain. Yeah, let me see if you can guess. We got a few extra minutes.
Reptilian. I mean, reptilian sounds like reptile. Reptiles, they do a lot of things, interesting things. But the reason why it's called reptilian,
Mm-hmm.
the cerebellum is called the reptilian brain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know, reptilian is a lot of things. I mean, they have
Well, give me
cold
some
blood,
features. Give me some major features of a reptile.
they
Name a
have cold
reptile. First of all, name a reptile.
lizard,
Yeah. Okay.
king cobra.
There you go.
What's that one called? There's a chameleon.
Yeah.
Got the one that can run out of water.
Okay. So here's what do. Here's what you're gonna do. Homework. Name 10 different reptiles.
I could do it now.
Can you? Go ahead.
Um,
You gave me three already.
what's one? I mean, it couldn't. Oh yeah, crocodile,
Uh-huh.
alligator.
Uh-huh. That's five.
Um, fish aren't reptiles, right?
Say it again.
Fish aren't reptiles, right?
No. No.
I could name a lot of fish. There's this one
Well, I'm
king.
not going to be quick to say no. I'm going to ask you to Google that and give me that as your homework. Are fish considered to be reptiles?
Okay.
And I have one other question for you. Are birds considered to be reptiles?
No,
Now you're
no,
going to have to go back into your
I don't think.
history. I don't want to know what you think. I want to know what you know. There's
I'm pre-
knowledge.
I'm pretty no. They're like considered a different category. They have
I
feathers.
want you to do the homework and let me know what the Google says or the Wikipedia or the encyclopedia says. What are the two questions again?
What? Uh, um, are are fish reptiles and are fish reptiles
Hmm.
and are bird reptiles.
That is correct. So that'll be your homework for next time. Okay. And I apologize for not getting to your homework from last time today, but we'll get to it the next class we have. All right. So let's get through this lesson because there's not a lot more left. And it's important to understand what both of these letters mean together, ra, qaf, qaf, ra, so you'll understand the point of today's lesson. So
Wait.
the major thing you need to know about reptiles is that, first of all, they are all born out of eggs, never out of a womb, like mammals are born out of the mother's belly or the mother's sac.
So then, what about a platypus?
Say it again, a platypus?
Yeah.
That's your
Yeah.
next homework. That's your next homework question. Write it down.
Okay.
Platypus.
Because they do lay eggs. That's how
Yes, they do. Well, let's see. Let's see. Yeah, you got insects that lay eggs, right?
Well, I mean, you just called them insects? They're not reptiles.
Well, how are they born? Do they get
Uh,
pregnant? Like humans get pregnant and animals get pregnant? Or
Well, I mean,
do they lay eggs?
if you consider what's it an amphibian, they sort of lay eggs, but the eggs sort of just form into the tadpole.
Hmm.
So technically, they're sort of laying eggs, but amphibians are considered their own category.
Tell me what an amphibian is in your homework. Write it down as a question. What are amphibians?
I might as well just put like every single category of what I know so far. Like, what is a mammal? What is
You want to do that kind of homework?
I mean, like it depends if you want me
Well, I mean,
to.
you can show me the difference between a mammal and a reptile. Yeah, I want to see that. And a
Or,
bird and a fish. What are the different categories? That'd be great as homework. I'll share that with the whole group if you give me that.
or you have to wait. Like, there's too many questions I have to put down.
So here's what you do. I'm gonna show you the easy way to do this. You ready?
Mhm.
Wait till you get the video replay, and then you can stop it, pause it, read. Yeah, you don't have to do all that
Is that
writing while I'm talking.
what that is that I don't know when I look for it because I'm trying like it's like a whole I'm trying to find this. It takes like 10 minutes to find where it actually happens, and I'm like uh, so I just
Flustered.
write everything down now
Uh,
because
So you
I don't know the
you
specific
want you want to write it down now is what you're saying.
yeah.
Well, go ahead.
It's better. I like
I
doing
thought
it
you were
that way
getting a little bit flustered there. Your brain
because
is
when
going
I
into overdrive. You want this homework.
um what's it pronounced
Okay. You need me,
is
me to repeat the questions back to you? Reptiles, mammals, birds,
mhm.
fish,
Okay, but what about the
amphibians. Hmm?
so okay. Uh,
Oh, I'm going to love to get this homework back. As soon as you do that homework, you send it to me in an email.
Okay. What about the mammal though?
The mammal.
Mhm.
What makes a mammal is because they have breasts that their babies feed from, and they develop within their mother's belly or womb. And as soon as they come out, they feed on the mother's breasts. That's
So
what
what
makes
makes?
a mammal,
Well, then you just answered my question.
which was what
The
makes a mammal a mammal?
breast.
Yeah.
So then,
What two things? What's the second thing I said? Not just
how the
breasts.
how the baby feeds off the breast for milk.
That's correct. As soon as it is born.
So then, what about the reptiles?
Reptiles are born out of cold eggs. Mammals are born out of warm wombs.
So you just want me to put what's the difference between a reptile and a mammal?
Mhm. But do the homework anyway, because you might find some other interesting tidbits that you want to add. Because birds are born out of eggs, aren't they?
The thing that the reptiles are cold-blooded. Birds are warm-blooded, and they have feathers.
That's right. So I want all of that in your homework.
No reptile has feathers.
There you go.
Between
You on it. Let me know when you finish the writing.
I guess I'm done.
Okay. So, in the interest of time, meaning we only have 2 minutes left, I already know I'm not going to get through the rest of today's lesson, but good, because now we're going to have people hanging on the ledge. You get it? No ledge, knowledge. We're going to have people hanging on the ledge, waiting for next week's lesson, where I'm going to show you how ra and off work together in words that you'll find in the Quran.
Huh?
I said, I can't wait till next week to
Oh,
finish this lesson. You're curious, aren't you?
about
How those two letters work together in words that are actually in the Quran.
I mean, I would like to know.
Yeah, but you got to wait till next week now.
Okay.
There's only 1 minute left. It's like 1 minute to 7 on my clock. You want me to go a couple of extra minutes?
I don't care.
Say it again.
I don't care.
I thought you were busy over there where you are, you know.
I mean, it's like dark now. What am I supposed to go outside?
Hey, hey, Mahdi, not my problem. It's been dark over here.
Like,
All right, I'm going to give you just a couple of more lines, and then we're going to conclude. You ready?
mhm,
Yeah, okay. Now you can't ask me a lot of questions then, because I got to finish the lesson. All right? Is it our deal?
mhm.
So let's read it straight through. Here we go. Start reading.
Information entering into the five senses can be stored within the subconscious mind for future recovery.
Hmm.
I want you to see the two dots on top of the letter cap as these two parts of the back of the brain.
Right. So I told you that already.
Well,
Okay.
what are the never mind.
No, go ahead. Ask.
What are the two front? What are the two front parts of the brain? Then?
You said the two front parts of the brain?
Yeah.
No, we're dealing with the two back parts of the brain right now.
Okay.
Remember?
Mhm.
The two front parts of the brain are called frontal lobes. We'll deal with that next week. Okay? That's actually a part of Ra. The two parts of the brain in the front are called frontal lobes. But
Mm-hmm.
this what's happening up here in the front of the brain, those are where your frontal lobes are in the front of the brain. And they're responsible for thinking, conscious thinking. That's why we started out by saying that Ra represents consciousness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Choosing between things. The back of the brain is not doing any choosing. The back of the brain is just like your bank. That's why they call it a memory bank, because this is where you store your information. Information that comes in through the front of the brain that you're thinking about, you're processing it, you're turning it around, you're deciding whether it's good or bad. Remember all those things we talked about earlier, whether it's right or wrong, good or bad, useful or not useful, all of those things, that's being decided up here in the front, not in the back. It's being decided in the front of the brain. Now, once you decide that it's good for you, once you decide that it's useful to you, then you begin to think about it more and more. You begin to repeat it to yourself more and more because it's good for you. And then your brain takes that information from the front of the brain and it delivers it back here to the back of the brain where the subconscious mind is. So all of the information that you want to remember, all you have to do is just keep repeating it to yourself. That's how you learned your ABCs, right?
Most
You
of
remember
it,
that far
yeah.
back? Yeah, you just kept repeating them to A, B, C, D, E, right? You just kept repeating them to yourself. Once you repeated them to yourself enough, then they go into that back part of the brain. In this, they become a part of your subconscious memory bank. And what happens when you want to get some money out of your bank? You got to go to the
I
bank, right?
well, you could go on the online bank, but
You can on the what?
you can go like online and like retrieve money
Well, you still going to
online.
the bank. No matter how you get there, you're going to the bank. They still call it a bank. Postal Federal Credit Union, you
Oh,
know. Huh? Yeah, it's a bank, right? And you retrieve your wealth from the bank. Well, you do the same thing with information. Once it becomes lodged in your subconscious mind, you have to retrieve that information from back here and bring it to the front again so that you can begin thinking about it all